So good evening, Dr. Lago and classmates. I am Clavel Joy Espinazo and my report is a continuation of the lesson 2 of the strategic formulation. So the topics that will be discussed are the following. The two external assessment, the technological forces and the competitive forces. Next would be the forecasting tools and techniques, followed by the global challenges, and lastly, the industry analysis, the external factor evaluation matrix, and the competitive profile matrix. So, what is an external assessment? It focuses on identifying and evaluating trends and events beyond the control of a single firm, such as increased foreign competition, population shifts to the Sun Belt, an aging society, consumer fear of traveling, and stock market volatility. So these are just some of the current environmental or industry trends. Basically, the external assessment reveals key opportunities and threats confronting an organization so that managers can formulate strategies to take advantage of the opportunities and avoid or reduce the impact of threats. As discussed by the previous report, it is important for an organization to identify and evaluate external opportunities and threats in order for an organization to develop a clear mission, to design strategies to achieve long term objectives, and to develop policies to achieve annual objectives. So the external forces can be divided into five broad categories. First, we have the economic forces. Next, the social, cultural, demographic, and natural environment. Third, the political, governmental, and legal forces. Fourth would be the technological forces, and fifth is the competitive forces. So, the increasing turbulence in markets and industries around the world means that the external assessment has become an explicit and vital part of the strategic management process. Firms that do not mobilize and empower their managers and employees to identify, monitor, forecast, and evaluate key external forces may fail to anticipate emerging opportunities and threats, and consequently may pursue ineffective strategies, miss opportunities, and invite organizational demise. A variety of new technologies such as the Internet of Things, 3D printing, the cloud, mobile devices, biotech, analytics, robotics, and artificial intelligence are fueling innovation in many industries and impacting strategic planning decision. Nowadays, businesses are using mobile technologies and applications to better determine customer trends and employing advanced analytics data to make enhanced strategy decisions. It basically affects the overall opportunities and threats in an organization, the products, services, markets, suppliers, distributors, competitors, customers, manufacturing processes, marketing practices, and competitive position. In short, revolutionary technological changes and discoveries are having a dramatic impact on organizations. Additionally, the internet has changed the very nature of opportunities and threats by altering the life cycles of products, increasing the speed of distribution, creating new products and services, erasing limitations of traditional geographic markets, changing the historical trade off between production, standardization, and flexibility, among others. Technological advancements can create new competitive advantages that are more powerful than existing advantages. No company or industry today is insulated against emerging technological developments. In high tech industries, identification and evaluation of key technological opportunities and threats can be most important part of the external strategic management audit. To effectively capitalize on e-commerce, a number of organizations are establishing two new positions, the CIO or the Chief Information Officer and the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. This trend reflects the growing importance of information technology in strategic management. A CIO and CTO work together to ensure that information needed to formulate, implement, and evaluate strategies is available where and when it is needed. So these individuals are responsible for developing, maintaining, and updating a company's information database. The CIO is more a manager who manages the firm's relationship with stakeholders, and the CTO is more a technician who focuses on technical issues such as data acquisition, data processing, decision support systems, and software and hardware acquisition. So, based on Joe Mulik, the 10 industries that wireless will change, published by the Wall Street Journal on the April 1st of 2009. So, here are some examples of the impact of wireless technology. First, we have the airlines. Many airlines now offer wireless technology in flight. Next would be the automotive. Vehicles are becoming wireless. Dili lang wireless but electronic. We now have electronic cars. Now next is the banking. Visa sends text message alerts after unusual transactions. Currently, we also now have the mobile application wherein we can easily transfer funds no using our mobile phones alone. Na siya very easy and just a click away na lang yun siya. Next is the education. Many secondary and even college students may use smartphones for math because research shows this to be greatly helpful. Currently, because of the pandemic, no, we have embraced the online class. It indeed made a dramatic shift in education, and we are benefiting from it. Ba? Okay, next would be the energy. Smart meters now provide power on demand in your homes or business. Currently, we have solar powered energy. No? Next would be the healthcare. Patients use mobile devices to monitor their own health, such as calories consumed. Currently, we now have smartwatches where it can monitor our health, no, sa ato ang connected siya sa itong mga exercise, sa steps that we make in a day, um, heart monitor mo na siya. So, high-tech na jud kaayo. Next would be the hotels. Days Inn sends daily specials and coupons to hotel guests via text messages. Karon na natay online booking, no? Next is the market research. Cell phone respondents provide more honest answers, perhaps because they are away from eavesdropping ears. Next is the politics. President Obama won the election partly by mobilizing Facebook and MySpace users, revolutionizing political campaigns. Obama announced his vice presidential selection of Joe Biden by a text message. So currently, we have Facebook, the YouTube, the TikTok, no, daghan na kay tag social media that we can utilize, especially for ano during campaign periods. Okay. So next would be the publishing. Ebooks are increasingly available. So na siya. So note that it was to publish the year 2009, and currently we are now 2023. So 14 years have passed, and would you imagine the developments made by the technology within the last 14 years? Diba? Indeed, technology forces poses a great opportunity and threat to business or organization. So let us now proceed to the competitive forces. It is essential for successful strategy formulation of organization to collect and evaluate information about their competitors, as it is important part of an external audit to identify rival firms and determining their strengths, weaknesses, capabilities, opportunities, threats, objectives, and strategies. So here are the 7 characteristics that describe the most competitive companies. First is that they strive to continually increase market share. Second, they use the vision, mission as a guide for all decisions. No, you have to understand and remember precisely what business you are in. Third, continually strive to improve everything about the firm. Um, Whether it's broke or not, they fix it. They make it better, not just products, but the whole company if necessary. Fourth is that is they continually adapt, innovate, improve, especially when the firm is successful. So there is a famous passage for companies: innovate or evaporate. So particularly in technology driven businesses, nothing quiet precedes like success. So fifth would be they strive to grow through acquisition whenever possible. Six, they hire and retain the best employees and managers possible. And seventh is that they strive to stay cost competitive on global basis. So addressing questions about competitors, such as those that follow, is important in performing an external audit. So these are some of the key questions about the competitors. But why do we need to know our competitors' characteristic? Knowing who your competitors are and what they are offering can help you make your products, services, and marketing stand out. It will enable you to set your prices competitively and help you to respond to rival marketing campaigns with your own initiatives. Let us now proceed to the competitive intelligence programs. So, what is a competitive intelligence program? It is the systematic and ethical process for gathering and analyzing information about the competition's activities and general business trends to further a business own goals. So, a good competitive intelligence in business, as in the military, is one of the keys to success. The more information and knowledge a firm can obtain about its competitors, the more likely it is that it can formulate and implement effective strategies. Major competitors' weaknesses can represent external opportunities. Major competitors' strengths may represent key threats. So, firms need an effective competitive intelligence program. So there are three basic objectives of a competitive intelligence programs. These are to provide a general understanding of an industry and its competitors. Second is to identify areas in which competitors are vulnerable and to assess the impact strategic actions would have on competitors. And third is to identify potential moves that a competitor might make that would endanger a firm's position in the market. When it comes to competitive intelligence, Porter's five forces model is a great way to get an accurate estimation and craft realistic expectations of what an industry can offer. This model is also widely used approach for developing strategies in many industries. The intensity of competition among firms varies widely across industries. Um, it was already discussed thoroughly by Mr. Tapio, no? The Porter's Five Forces model. So to save time, I will not be discussing it in depth. However, I will just have a run through on the matter. So the Porter's Five Forces analysis is a framework that helps analyze the level of competition within a certain industry. It is especially useful when starting a new business or when entering a new industry sector. According to this framework, competitiveness does not only come from competitors. Rather, the state of competition in an industry depends on the five basic forces: the threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of buyers, threat of substitute products, or services, and existing industry rivalry. So let us now proceed to the forecasting tools and techniques. Forecasts are educated assumptions about future trends and events. There are several business forecasting methods that might work for a business that will help them understand past trends and potential demand. The right technique might depend on what industry is using it. Here are some of the general forecasting models often used by businesses. Forecasting tools can be broadly categorized into two groups: the quantitative techniques and the qualitative techniques. Qualitative method is appropriate where no hard data is available. Startups, for instance, can project against past data because there is no past data for their business. They must use a subjective approach then that looks at the industry, market research, and relies on opinions of industry experts. The quantitative methods forecast the future through looking at past data. This measurable, method based analytical mode is appropriate for several statistical forecasting needs, including short term goals and planning. The world is big, and when it comes to business, everyone is intertwined. Whether or not you produce and sell goods internationally, global business impacts every organization. In today's globalized economy, no business can operate without considering the broader external environment. Because of fewer resources, small businesses are much more vulnerable to adverse environmental conditions than large corporations. It is imperative for small business managers to strategize to fend off global threats and build on opportunities provided by an interconnected world economy. So, here are the four major global challenges that the industry is currently facing. First, we have the government collapse. Any firm doing business in a foreign country must constantly monitor the stability of the government in that area. Conflict, rebellion, and even revolution can cause the government to seize a company's assets and nationalize resources as part of an effort to maintain power. A strategic manager must monitor local government stability in each country where the business has operations. Second is the globalization. Globalization is the trend toward economic, political, and technological interdependence between countries. National boundaries in business are becoming blurred. Businesses are becoming more decentralized and sourcing is increasingly international. This phenomenon involves both threats and opportunities for small businesses. On the other hand, cheap products and services by multinational firms threaten the local markets of small companies. On the other hand, small firms with proprietary products can partner with multinationals and grow rapidly. Third is that we have the business climate. The business climate of a location includes the factors such as taxes, regulations, and local costs of doing business that affect the health of businesses. Many nations and states regularly publish business climate surveys. In the global economy, nations and states compete to attract footloose businesses looking for the most favorable location for business. Entrepreneurs and managers should consult business climate reports before deciding on the location of a new business. Lastly, we have the technological advances. Technology has emerged as a facilitator in global commercial change. E commerce has made global supply chains a reality. Small businesses can reach out to a global customer base by the internet, but technological advances can pose important technical and regulatory challenges. Also, the legitimacy of online audio, video, and print material can turn into a contentious issue. Part of the global strategy includes optimizing online messages for an international audience. Let us now proceed to the industry analysis. The external factor evaluation matrix, or EFE matrix, and the CPM, or the competitive profile matrix. An external factor evaluation (EFE matrix) allows strategists to summarize and evaluate economic, social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, governmental, legal, technological, and competitive information. In short, the EFE matrix is a strategic analysis tool used to evaluate firms' external environment and to reveal its strengths as well as weaknesses. So here is an example of an EFE matrix for a local 10 theater cinema complex. So let us know the different um, parts of this EFE matrix. So let us first discuss the key external factor. When using the EFE matrix, we identify the key external opportunities and threats that are affecting or might affect a company. By analyzing the external environment with the tools like Porter's five forces or profile matrix, the key external factors can be identified. The general rule is to identify as many external and internal factors as possible. Include a total of 15 to 20 factors, including both opportunities and threats that affect the firm and its industry. List the opportunities first and then the threats. Next is the weight. Each key factor should be assigned a weight ranging from zero point zero or low importance to 1.0 high importance. The number indicates how important the factor is if a company wants to succeed in an industry. If there were no weights assigned, all the factors would be equally important, which is an impossible scenario in the real world. The sum of all the weights must equal to 1.0. Separate factors should not be given to emphasis, assigning a weight of 0.30 or more because the success in an industry is rarely determined by one or few factors. Next is the rating. The ratings in external matrix refer to how effectively companies' current strategy responds to the opportunities and threats. The numbers range from 4 to 1, where 4 means a superior response, 3 above average response, 2 average response, and 1 as poor response. Ratings, as well as weights, are assigned subjectively to each factor. The company is better prepared to meet the threats, especially the first threat. Lastly, we have the weighted score. The score is the result of weight multiplied by rating. Each key factor must receive a score. Total weighted score is simply the sum of all individual weighted scores. The firm can receive the same total score from 1 to 4 in both matrices. The total score of 2.5 is an average score. In external evaluation, a low total score indicates that company strategies aren't well designed to meet opportunities and defend against threats. As for our example, note that a total weighted score of 2.58 is above the average, of which the midpoint is 2.5. So this cinema business is doing pretty well, taking advantage of the external opportunities and avoiding the threats facing the firm. There is definitely room for improvement, though, because the highest total weighted score would be 4.0. As indicated by ratings of 1, this business needs to capitalize more on the two new neighborhoods nearby, opportunity and the movies rented from Time Warner threat. So let us now proceed to the last industry analysis, the competitive profile matrix. The CPM identifies firms' major competitors and their strengths and weaknesses in relation to a sample firms' strategic positions. Comparing the two matrices, the weights and total weighted scores in both the CPM and EFE have the same meaning. However, critical success factors in a CPM include both internal and external issues. Therefore, the ratings refer to strengths and weaknesses, where 4 as a major strength, 3 as the minor strength, 2 as minor weakness, and 1 as major weakness. The critical success factors in a CPM are not grouped into opportunities and threats as they are in the EFE. In a CPM, the ratings and total weighted scores for rival firms can be compared to the sample firm. This comparative analysis provides important internal strategic information. So here is an example of a competitive profile matrix. In this example, the two most important factors to being successful in the industry are advertising and global expansion, as indicated by weights of 0.20. So if there were no weight column in this analysis, note that each factor then would be equally important. Thus, having a weight column makes for a more robust analysis because it enables the analyst to assign higher and lower numbers to capture perceived or actual levels of importance. Note in the example that the company 1 is strongest on product quality, as indicated by a rating of 4, whereas company 2 is strongest on advertising. Overall, company 1 is the strongest, as indicated by the total weighted score of 3.15. As for the interpretation, just because one firm receives a 3.2 rating and another receives a 2.8 rating in competitive profile matrix, it does not follow that the first firm is 20% better than the second. Numbers reveal the relative strengths of firms, but their implied precision is an illusion. Numbers are not magic. The aim is not to arrive at a single number, but rather to assimilate and evaluate information in a meaningful way that aids in decision making. Other than the critical success factors listed in the example CPM, factors often included in this analysis include breadth of product line, effectiveness of sale distribution, proprietary or patent advantages, location of facilities, production capacity and efficiency, experience, union relations, technological advantages, and the e-commerce expertise. So, in conclusion, increasing turbulence in markets and industries around the world means the external audit has become an explicit and vital part of the strategic management process. This chapter provides a framework for collecting and evaluating economic, social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, governmental, legal, technological, and competitive information. Firms that do not mobilize and empower their managers and employees to identify, monitor, forecast, and evaluate key external forces may fail to anticipate emerging opportunities and threats and consequently may pursue ineffective strategies, miss opportunities, and invite organizational demise. So that would be all. Thank you so much for listening and God bless.